What is up, you guys? This is D-Man HD and I am back, and let's hope that we can actually upload this video. The last 4 weeks, I had to go through it again. Against the Titans, I could not edit the footage because I was away. Week 6 against the Chiefs, we had no audio. Week 7, our audio got distorted, and then Week 8, our video got corrupted. So, I'm once again here with my man Vince. Say what's up, Vince.
I know, man. I'm just, might as well just call this our show because I'm here every week. So
You right?
I'm no longer a guest here. This is our show.
No, you are a official co-host of this show. I'm hoping we can actually. I'm hoping we can actually get this video uploaded because
I hope we do too, because this is tough. We be talking, we have a great conversation, and then
we have
can't hear it because it's I don't know what's going on. Man.
We've had 4 weeks in a row, and they've been about like 35 to 40 minute just conversations about the game, and then like I would go edit it, and one, like I said, the Chiefs video had no audio. The Jets footage, I don't know what happened, but it got completely distorted. And the New England game got corrupted before it even ended. So, let's get right into it. We got the Buffalo Bills hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Seattle Seahawks playing a phenomenal season. They've only lost one game, and that was to the Arizona Cardinals. Russell Wilson playing like the true MVP of the NFL season so far. But let's not forget, Josh Allen was in that MVP candidacy too, weeks 1 through 4. Buffalo coming off something that they have not done since 2016, and that is beat the New England Patriots, and doing something in 2011, which is beat the New England Patriots in Buffalo. Now, the one thing I found very interesting about the game last week, everyone can say, oh, Buffalo played down to New England. New England is never an easy game for the Bills. The Bills could have the 1990 Bills play this New England Patriots team, and it would not be an easy win for them. But what I want to say is interesting. The Bills never trailed New England last week. Not one point in the game where the Bills trailed. I found that to be a very telling stat for the game. Granted, the game was close, but the Bills never trailed. I think that's been the first time. I think that was the first time since 2016 the Bills have not trailed New England in a game, and that was the only reason why, because they beat them 16-0. What do you got to say about that, Vince?
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, well, first, let me start this by, for those that are watching, I love y'all. I promise I love our fan base. I love us so deeply. Y'all got my heart. But one thing we have to learn as fans, you gotta enjoy wins like this, okay? I understand we expect a lot of Buffalo, especially with the team that's been put together this year. We expect a lot from these guys. But we have to focus on the positives of last week's game, okay? It's been a while. It's been a long while since we beat New England. Of course, the last time we beat them was in 2016. Last time we beat them at home was in 2011. Everybody remember that game. That was the birth of this match. Everybody remember that game. I remember that game. I remember that game very
I love that game. I remember me and my dad.
Awesome.
Me and my dad were talking about it, and like my dad picked me up because this happened in 2011, so this was like years. What was this? What is this? 2020? So that was 9 years ago. I was 13. Like my dad was picking me up because I usually went with my dad on the week, and like we would watch the Bills games on Sundays, as we still do to this day. And when he picked me up, the Bills were already down like 21-0, and we always went to this bar called Sports Page, which is now closed, as I cry every night about it. And like I'm like, all right, let's just go there. Let's get some lunch, good food, maybe maybe they can make it competitive, right? And he's like, all right, sure. And then sure enough, the Bills come back and win that game, and that was that is still to this day one of my favorite games as a Bills fan, because that, like, we came back against the Tom Brady Patriots and won. And I still remember that Drayton Florence pick 6 that sealed it. Well, it didn't seal it, but gave them the lead for the first time that entire game. Made me smile. Made me smile. But let's get right into Week 9. Buffalo is 6-2 on top of the AFC East. They are 4-0 in the division. They are 3-1 at home, right? Because they lost to the Chiefs. Yes. So
yeah, 3-1.
3-1 at home. Not a bad record whatsoever. Now, everyone's got to realize
they had a marquee home schedule this year.
You got to realize one thing, right? This would have been an interesting game for Buffalo if it was a little later in the year, like if it was December, and like you had the Buffalo weather. I feel like this is just going to be like an even playing ground in the sense there's going to be no fans. At worst, you might get some rain, but I don't think there's any rain in the forecast for Buffalo. So this is going to be a perfect weather game for football, which kind of could hurt Buffalo because if you want, you're more used to, like, you know, that cold weather, like that snow. Seattle's more used to rain, so it really, like, doesn't give Buffalo a true advantage. And with no fans, there is no home field advantage this year. But you got to talk about one thing. Off the start, we already know that the key player of the Bills' defense, Matt Milano, is out this week. Now, normally, Matt Milano being out would be a big loss for the Bills' defense, but when you're looking at it, he's their big run stopper. Now, looking at Seattle, Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde are both out, so maybe Buffalo can relax a little bit with Matt Milano being out this week, just so he can, you know, get healthy for a postseason push. And because you're not going to really have to stuff the run when the Seattle Seahawks are going to be airing it out this game. And you got, I think it was a practice squad player who's going to be their number one running back this week. So they don't have to really account for the run. You still got to, like, pay attention to it, but you really have to focus on the passing game, which is going to be a huge relief for the Bills because they mainly looked at the passing game for the Chiefs. It didn't work because they got gashed by Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm hoping that's not the same fate when they have to face Russell Wilson and this practice squad running back or Russell Wilson gashed them open on the run game. But I think it's going to have to focus on that pass game for Seattle because I don't see anything from Seattle's run game this year to where Buffalo really has to, like, plan and be scared of it. So, we got an interesting matchup because this is two really good teams, both in strong contention for the playoffs and are both looking to make a playoff push. Now, the Seahawks made a trade the week of the trade deadline. Nothing did happen on the trade deadline unless you want to talk about the greatest move that was made this year at the trade deadline. The Buffalo Bills signed Daryl Worley to the practice squad. That was the best move of the trade deadline because that had everybody talking about. I've never seen a practice squad transaction talked about so much. But, I joke. But the Seahawks did make a trade and they got Carlos Dunlap, bolstering up their pass rush that has been a little weak this year. They did lose a defensive lineman more because of a performance-enhancing drug situation. They are getting Jamal Adams back. So it's going to be a key matchup to see the Bills' offense if they can wake up against the Seattle defense. The one person I really want to step up this week, and it's going to be a weird one, I want Cole Beasley to step up. I want the wide receiver core to step up as a whole because the secondary of the Seahawks isn't that good. I like the Bills' like wide receiver matchups this week as, like, you know, they don't have a good secondary, but Allen can air it out, and when he does, he can put on a show. Like, obviously, you got to account for Stephon Diggs if you're Seattle. You got to account for John Brown if he's playing. You got to account for Cole Beasley and Gabriel Davis. My personal opinion, I think Gabriel Davis might have a 110-yard game. Let's say they double-team Diggs. I think Gabriel Davis is going to make up for his dropped touchdown last week. He hasn't had a touchdown in the last 2 weeks. Last week he had a drop touchdown that would have just sealed the game for the Bills. It was in his hands, perfect throw by Allen, and he just couldn't hold it in. And then the week before against the Jets, he got a touchdown taken away because of an illegal formation, which I still don't know where it was, but I think Gabriel Davis is going to actually have a pretty good game this week. And
so we're already dropping bold predictions this early in the trip.
I'm not dropping a bold prediction. I'm just saying.
I think that was a very bold prediction, which you said. I love Gabe. No. I love Gabe. But you saying that he's gonna have more yards than Cole?
I think he could be a surprise player this week. I picked up Cole Beasley for my fantasy team in one of my leagues. I think the Bills' offense as a whole is going to be a completely different story from the last 2 weeks. What people have to realize when it comes to the Buffalo Bills and Sean McDermott, they are not going to, play a game and try to have a shootout with your division rival. They're going to play it competitive. They tried to chew the clock out on the Patriots. The Jets game, I think, was a trap game. I think they were looking past the Jets and they were looking towards New England. Sean McDermott and the team will never admit to that, but the way they played, it looked like they were already looking ahead to New England. And their mission, it wasn't like we're not gonna stomp New England. We're not gonna do anything spectacular. We're just gonna pound the ball and we're just gonna win this game against New England and get McDermott his first win against Belichick. And I think that was a telling story. You had Zach Moss and Singletary have 80 yards. I think Allen had 50-plus yards, 2 rushing. Zach Moss had 2 touchdowns. A really, really big performance from the Bills' rushing game. This is probably their best game of the season on the ground. And they didn't ask Allen to throw the ball many times. He threw it 18 times total, completed 11 passes. He had 1 bad pick because it was a miscommunication between him and Diggs. Allen thought he was going to go more to the outside. Diggs thought he was going to cut more in. And then you had the drop touchdown by Gabriel Davis. So I think this is going to be a game where Buffalo reopens up that offensive playbook. What do you think about that, Vince?
It's time for the analysts to jump in? Oh, my bad. It's time to jump in? I said no. I'm going to start off like this. It's as simple as this. And I know we always focus on what and here's something I found interesting earlier today. I don't think we realize it enough, but we focus on what we need to do to beat a team like the Seahawks. But I think we should switch the narrative and mention what the Seattle have to do to beat us. Because look, if you really think about this, this is a very good matchup. Especially on the 1 o'clock window. I'd rather this be I know a lot of people are going to come at me for this, but I'd rather this be a primetime game because this is really what it should be. But that's another note. That's another story for another day. These are 2 well-coached teams. The matchup bodes well for both sides. But when it comes down to it, if you really look at this matchup, it's going to come down to which defense is going to make a stop. And if you look at it, Buffalo would lean, at least me, a lot of people would lean more towards Buffalo being able to get that stop rather than the Seahawks. Because the Seahawks, if you look at the scores, they have not been able to stop anybody on defense. I'm looking at their last 5 games. They've given up they're getting up at least 25 points plus in every game this year. Even the last couple of games. They won 37-27 last week, and that was against the Niners, who had Jimmy, got injured. Nick Mullins came in and played pretty well, even though he did not play well this past Thursday. But we're not going to talk about that. Arizona, they lost in overtime. Russell threw the ball 50 times in that game. Do I think he will throw 50 times this Sunday? Probably not. Unless Buffalo is able to find a way to get stops, then he probably will throw 50 times. They only won by 1 against Minnesota. Then Miami was a tough game, and then of course, early in the season they played Dallas, and that was a pretty close game as well. So it's really gonna come down to which defense can get a stop. and I think Buffalo has the better defense to be able to get a stop. And I know we focus, and I'm pretty sure you mentioned the wide receiving core. Buffalo's going to have many opportunities. And when you look at it, I think this not a knock on the Seahawks. Seahawks have a very good wide receiving core, but even though it's really only there for two people.
Hey, those two people can carry a whole team.
But yeah, so I mean, they got DK and Tyler. The secondary, Buffalo secondary is going to be asked to cover for a good amount of time. So our pass rush is really going to have to find a way to get to Russell. And based off film and what I've seen, the best way to break down Russell is they're going to have to go with the same game plan they did for Mahomes, but you have to. They're going to tweak it a little bit. With Russ, and with Russ don't have a good old line.
No,
but you wouldn't know that watching some of their games because you look. And I've watched at least 4 or 5 of their games. I'm like, and I'm sitting there watching. I'm like, how is Russ getting so much time when they old line not that good? He getting at least 5 to 7 seconds back there to throw the ball and find somebody. And I'm like, that's crazy. And then if it once, and then there's sometimes where the play will break down, and then he'll begin to start using his legs. But Buffalo's defensive line, they should have plenty of opportunity to get the rest of it. They have to play contain. No, none of our ends will break contain. I hope not. Jerry Hughes has struggled with that this year. I'm not going to talk about that though. But they're going to have to play a lot of contain for Russ, and they're going to have to make sure that they key in on their pass rush lane to make sure Russ does not have any open seams to get extra yards with his legs. Which I'm pretty sure Seattle wants to play them the exact. Seattle's going to play Josh Allen the exact same way because both quarterbacks are able to do things with their legs that most quarterbacks cannot do in this league. So,
very true.
But back to the fact of our wide receiving core. But Seattle, one thing Seattle does not do, and what the Patriots did last week is the Patriots use a lot of nickel. They run a lot of nickel and dime packages. They like to have 6 or 7 DBs on the field. Seattle's not going to do that. Seattle may throw that in, but that's not how they play. They play with their 3 linebackers being KJ Wright, Bobby Wagner, and their rookie Jordan Brooks. So you mentioned Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley should be able to win his matchups on Sunday because a lot of times he's going to have either Jordan Brooks or Bobby Wagner lined up against him. And of course, we all know how unguardable Cole Beasley is. I mean, Cole Beasley is going to have the opportunity to rack up. He got another 100-yard game. I see him getting at least that same amount of targets that Diggs would, which is about 9 to 10. But I really think our wide receivers are going to have a lot of opportunities in this game. Josh Allen's going to. And one thing that, of course, we did not see last week, and what we haven't seen the last couple weeks because of how teams have been playing Josh Allen, he's going to have opportunities to stretch the field. There will be at least 4 or 5 times where you will see Josh Allen run that little play action that Buffalo loves to do, and he's going to look downfield, and he going to scan. He will scan, try to find somebody. So I don't think David will be afraid to take shots on Seattle because Seattle at pass defense has struggled. But if Seattle was smart, they would play Josh Allen how other teams have played him, which is to not give him the deep ball and make him take underneath throws to get up the field.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And you wanted to mention, like, we always say, how can the Buffalo Bills win this game? And you wanted to mention how the Seattle Seahawks can do it. The big part on the Seattle Seahawks defense is containing Josh Allen and keeping him in the pocket. He is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL at extending a play using his feet. And, you know, like a lot of people like to say, I know on Good Morning Football they call him like Sugar High Josh Allen, where he's like stiff arming defenders. He's like trucking defenders because he's trying to extend the play. If the Seattle Seahawks can keep Josh Allen in the pocket, that's going to open up their defense a lot more. Because if you have to contain Josh Allen and hope he doesn't, you know, scramble out or break off a run because he does have that running ability. He isn't a slow quarterback. He is a newer age Cam Newton. I don't want to say newer age because Cam Newton's only been in the league since 2011, but we've seen Cam Newton run. How he ran in his first couple of years in the NFL. That's how Josh Allen runs. He runs very aggressively. He throws his body to the wind. He doesn't really care. If Seattle wants to beat the Bills, they have to make sure Josh Allen stays in the pocket. Now, there's no guarantee that he still's not going to throw for 300 yards on you, but it's going to help to where if you can get pressure on him and make sure he doesn't break out of the pocket and extend the play, you're going to get to him a little faster. That's going to be a huge factor for the Seahawks.
Yeah, they're going to find ways. I expect Buffalo to go a lot. We're going to see empty because Buffalo is probably. I'm pretty sure Buffalo's in the top 5 teams offensively who go empty set. So I expect a lot of empty where it's just going to be Josh Allen back there and he's just going to sit and look. And they're gonna try to space the Seahawks out, and the fact that really not a lot of people are gonna notice it, but I mean that bodes well for Buffalo because Buffalo has the wide receivers, they have the speed and the talent at wide receiver for them to get separation and get open because, like I said, Seattle's going to run their linebackers out there. They're not gonna go 6-7 DBs like what New England did against Josh, but they're gonna see a lot of linebackers matched up against them. So which is why Cole Beasley's gonna bode well for his matchups. You got Cole, John Brown. I mean, there's gonna be opportunities out there for the offense. So
Josh Allen's gonna have to. Josh Allen's gonna definitely have to look at the defense that Seattle's giving him. And like you said, if Bobby Wagner is lined up against Cole Beasley, Bobby Wagner is one of the best middle linebackers, if not the best middle linebackers in football. He can't cover Cole Beasley because most cornerbacks in the NFL can't cover Cole Beasley because he lines up in the slot and he makes these quick cuts and quick routes that he just gets open on zig routes and stuff like that. So if the Seahawks have Wagner against Beasley, Allen's definitely got to notice that and take advantage of that matchup because Cole Beasley could have a monstrous day if that is the case. He could also be lined up against KJ Wright as well, but either way, if you're going to have a linebacker on one of our receivers, Allen's got to look at that, and you got to test that matchup because Gabriel Davis, Stephon Diggs, John Brown, Cole Beasley all have the ability to get open, and if they're against a linebacker, they have the speed to get past them and burn them.
Now, one thing that's also that I probably forgot to mention that now the fact that Jamal is going to be back this week, which is very telling that he somehow managed to get back to this game. That this is Jamal Adams. Why not? Why not come back to this game? But Seattle's going to use Jamal Adams just like the Jets used him. He's going to be everywhere. There may be times Cole Beasley may get Jamal Adams mixed up against him. Now, Jamal Adams has struggled in the past against wide receivers. He's not the best coverage safety.
No,
okay?
He is not.
Just ask Julian Edelman and how that worked out for him. Okay. When it was going against Jamal Adams. But Seattle's there are going to be times, and I'm pretty sure Josh is going to notice it because of the times that he has since Josh has played Jamal, I want to say 3 times in his career. When he was with the Jets.
Jamal was drafted in 2017. Allen played him twice. No. I think he might have only played Jamal twice because I think he missed the first game against the Jets because of the elbow injury, so he might have only played Jamal Adams twice.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So, okay, yeah. But like I said, he knows Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams knows him. They're going to use him as a blitzer as well because that's what Seattle did, and that's what the Jets did. So, and I'm pretty sure Josh, like I said, Josh is going to notice that. So, if Dable is smart, from time to time, he may need to keep a running back in the backfield just to keep an eye on Jamal Adams, because there's going to be times they're going to disguise him as a blitzer, and he may look like he's blitzing, but he might drop back in coverage. So, I wish. And another thing is, I see a lot of people have been criticizing Josh over the last 4 or 5 games. Josh has not played bad.
No.
He's managed the game very well. Granted, does he have? I think he's got like two or three picks in the last 4 games, but a couple of them weren't even his fault. He has 5 interceptions from here, and I think what people have to realize is if you actually watch these games, he's not playing bad. He's actually making good decisions on the field. It's just a couple of times where I know, especially last week. Last week wasn't his fault, because that was already mentioned as a miscommunication with Diggs. Allen was expecting Diggs to run a slant, and where Diggs just stopped, so it happened to end up being an interception. But Josh hasn't really made any uncharacteristic bad plays. He's had a couple overthrows.
And
he ain't really made no bad plays.
I mean,
with the exception of
the only bad play I can say Josh Allen has made was probably against the Titans. The second Malcolm Butler interception. It seemed like he was just forcing that one. That was probably Josh Allen's worst throw of the season. And you look at it like Josh Allen's playing bad because he hasn't thrown. I mean, he's thrown for 300 yards in 4 games this year. The knock on Allen was that he can't throw for 300 yards, and now the big thing is he threw for 417 against the Dolphins. Dolphins are playing like a good team, but that was discredited earlier in the year because it's the Dolphins. So, and before anybody says like, Buffalo's not a good team, they lost to the Chiefs, who are considered the best team in football, and the Titans. Both teams that were in the AFC Championship game. They've beaten the Rams. They've beaten the Rams, who people consider a good team. They've beaten the Raiders, who people consider a good team. Miami is considered a good team. So why is it that Buffalo is not getting any love for these wins when, the Giants, I was watching Colin Cowherd, the Giants are getting love for losing games because they're playing competitive. And these are like good losses. There's no such thing as a good loss in the NFL. If you lose, you lose. There's ugly wins.
It is what it is. I mean, like I said, there's no such thing as moral victory in the NFL. But I mean, it is what it is. People, Buffalo don't really get love. I mean,
no, they do not.
We've understood that. I mean, this is what comes with being a fan. I mean, even our own fans sometimes don't sort of level. I mean, but it is what it is. So
I remember when. Go ahead, speak.
I just don't like how, people giving Josh just. People gotta realize. A year ago, we wouldn't have been as mad as how he's playing.
No.
People gotta realize the drastic improvement of what Josh has done. Because the fact that us fans are sitting here getting mad that Josh isn't throwing for 300 every game, that's telling you something. Because last season we wouldn't have, people would have been happy with a 150-yard, 200-yard game.
Yeah.
That's what we expect. But the fact that he's been throwing for 300 in 4 of the 8 games this year, that says a lot of the improvement that he's going on. And what people still fail to realize, the guy has been efficient. He's still efficient. The man is still his completion percentage is still damn near around 70.
Yeah.
The knock on him has been his accuracy and his efficiency. We can't sit here and knock the guy because he hasn't had a 300-yard performance in the last couple of weeks. But dude, the guy's still very efficient. His decision making has gotten a whole lot better from what we saw a year ago. Because there'd be time in the games where we've seen Josh just force things when it don't need to be
Oh,
forced.
absolutely. But I want to say a few things about Josh Allen. Going back to the 2018 draft class, right? Josh Rosen was high praise. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold were all high praise quarterbacks, right? And Lamar Jackson was always told he would not be able to pass at the next level. And Josh Allen was the rawest prospect out of that entire draft class. Now, Sam Darnold is going to be shipped off in the offseason. Baker Mayfield isn't really that true leader of the Browns, and he was the number 1 overall pick. And Josh Rosen's on the practice squad of the Buccaneers, being on his third team in his third year. So you have to realize Josh Allen only being in his third year, his only second year as a starter, and his development is phenomenal. You can argue that he's had the best development out of any quarterback in that draft class. You can look at Sam Darnold, and he has regressed tremendously. Baker Mayfield is not a true locker room leader. Lamar Jackson is considered the best player at the position. But if you want to ask me, I think Josh Allen is the best passer from that draft class, and it's not even close. Like, Lamar, I was watching the Ravens game last week against the Steelers, and there was times where in the fourth quarter, they're running the ball with Lamar or they're running it with J.K. Dobbins. They, in my opinion, they do not trust Lamar to throw in a big-time situation. They want him to run for it. Josh Allen, Sean McDermott, and a perfect example of like this is week 3 against the Los Angeles Rams. The Bills are down. They just blew a 25-point lead. They're losing 31-35 or something like that. Or they're losing 28-31. And 2-minute drill. Josh Allen is composed. Completes 2 fourth down plays on that drive and scores a game-winning touchdown. They trusted him to throw the ball every single play, and he won it. Josh Allen's development from year 1, from him being drafted to now, is outstanding. Outstanding.
That clutch game, that's why, man. Got that clutch game. The man has the most fourth quarter comebacks since he's been drafted. So I mean,
yeah, no.
It's all about trust. It's all about trust in the organization. So I mean, the team, of course, Buffalo is trusting Josh Allen in those situations, and it looks like Harbaugh in Baltimore isn't really trusting Lamar in some of those situations because he hasn't really been able to prove that he can handle that.
No.
So,
but I will say this: there have been games where Lamar Jackson has thrown for under 140 yards, and he got praised because of his running ability, and the Ravens won. But with Josh Allen, he would throw 200 yards and win. It was nothing. But one thing I also want to notice is, or a few things I want to say actually, is the Buffalo Bills, like you said, are efficient, right? Josh Allen's efficient. They have the highest percentage of third down conversions in the entire NFL. That's
it does not get talked about enough.
It doesn't. So the fact that they are converting on third down the most in the NFL is an amazing stat. That means they are extending their drives. They might not go, score on every drive, but they are extending it. They are not going 3 and out most drives. That is an important stat because it's giving your defense a rest and your offense is going down the field. The highest third down conversion rate in the NFL. And Josh Allen, I think, has he's a top 3 adjusted completion percentage because of all the drops that the Bills receivers have had in the first 8 weeks. You saw, like, in the Kansas City and the Titans game, there were so many drops for the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills had a lot of drops in, like, a few weeks, and Josh Allen's adjusted completion percentage has skyrocketed because of those drops. And they're not drops like that, they're tough catches. They're in the hands, and one went for a pick. So, I want, people to stop, hating on Josh Allen because you either have him in your fantasy team and he's not putting up 40 points, or because he's not lighting up the stat sheet like you would want. The one stat that does not show up on a stat sheet, no matter where you look, is leadership. Josh Allen is a true leader of this team. You can look at it when they got blown out by the Titans. What is he doing? He's not sulking. He's not, having a meltdown. He's picking up his defense because they knew they played their worst game in years. He's the one patting every defensive player on the back, dapping them up, like boosting their confidence and getting back to work. He's always the first person at an interview. He's always the one talking about the Bills and the media, how they don't care, and how the family is built in Buffalo. Because this is not a team. This is a family built in Buffalo. And no matter where he goes, he wears the Bills with pride. Like, every interview he does, he always ends it with, "Go Bills." He... excuse me, I had to clear my throat. He is a true leader of this team. I saw Colin Cowherd saying something like Josh Allen is a tier 3 quarterback to where Buffalo could be making calls to move on from Allen soon. And he might have lost the locker room. That is just not the case. And in fact, I'll actually show you this clip.
Ban him from this show. I'm about to ban him from being his name being dropped in this show. I don't know why we keep talking about him, to be honest. Like, his takes are so bad that they're just you don't call it bad. They're just awful.
They are truly awful.
The man Colin Cowherd he doesn't know what he's talking about half the time. So
no,
I don't even know why we entertain his BS. But on another note,
no, I never know either. But I just found that like so interesting. Like, you know, that Josh Allen is like a bona fide leader of that team, and he had the audacity to say that he was losing the locker room. That's just not the case. I mean, you want to look... he's losing the locker room, right? Because he's not, like, you know, putting up 300-yard games. When John Feliciano hurt his shoulder in the offseason, I think it was... What did he hurt his pectoral, right? As well?
Yeah, he tore it back.
What was Allen doing? Oh, that's right. Allen made Feliciano dinner and helped his teammate get better. But... like I said, Josh Allen is an absolute amazing leader for this team, and that's not going to show up in any stat sheet. And every player says they will go and die on a hill for their quarterback. I truly think the Bills players would die on a hill for Josh Allen, in any sense, because he's like embraced that Buffalo lifestyle, and he's become that true leader of the Bills.
I don't even play on the team, and I want to walk for them.
I would... Look, I'll be the first to admit it. On draft night, I was a little upset that they did not draft Rosen because I said it was going to be the longest 1-second pause in history. They said they drafted quarterback Josh, and it was going to be a long pause. I will admit, I did my analysis. I thought Rosen was the better quarterback. Josh Allen has impressed me so much. I love Josh Allen. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL right now. I am willing to die on a hill that's saying Josh Allen is a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. Without question. And he's especially proving it this year. Because everyone wants to say, like, you know, passing yards are an important stat. He's still top 5 passing yards. Oh, wins are an important stat. He has 6 wins this year. I mean, he's 4-0 in division.
Number 7.
Number 7 on the road for Buffalo. My hope for the Bills, and I'm not being, like, you know, pessimistic or whatever. I'm just saying, like, how it is. These are 2 tough games coming up to the Seahawks and the Cardinals. If the Bills can take one game and go 7-3 into the bye week, they are sitting pretty in their division.
Audience, don't let him fool you. He's being pessimistic. Don't let him fool you. Don't let him fool you, guys. Continue.
I'm just saying, Look, do I want the Bills to go 14-2? Absolutely. Do I think they will do it? No. But I'm just saying, if we can take a win from either Seattle or Arizona, 2 very good teams in probably the best division in football, and go 7-3 into the bye week, that will be a victory in my book. Even if we can go 8-2 into the bye week, I'd love it. I'd love to be 16-0 at this point in the season somehow, and already be claimed the Super Bowl. Hell, if Trump can claim states he didn't win the presidential election, can we claim the Super Bowl? How about the 1990 Super Bowl? Can we claim that one? No? Alright, anyway. Let's get into it. I mean, we still gotta do our offensive player to watch, our defensive player to watch, bowl predictions, and score predictions. So, I said it already. My offensive player of the week to watch is actually going to be Gabriel Davis. I think he's going to have a surprisingly big game for the Bills. I think the entire wide receiver core is going to be a big part of this offense. And on defense, I think it's going to be like the pass rush, like you acknowledged. It's going to be a hard matchup for anyone opposite of Tre'Davious. I don't know. I think Josh Norman has been confirmed out this week as well. So you're going to have Levi Wallace against either DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett. Now, if that's the case, I would definitely have Micah Hyde if he's active, or Jordan Poyer help with the coverage on that one, because either way, it's a tough matchup. Either way, it's going to be a tough matchup for Levi Wallace, whether you're guarding DK Metcalf, who's playing like one of the best receivers in football this season, or Tyler Lockett. It's going to be a tough matchup. So who are your key matchups for offense and or defense, Vince?
Offensively, I mean, it's Josh, bro. I really want to see how he's going to what him and Dable have cooked up in practice to how they're going to attack this defense. Him and the running back. I know. Last week the game script called for them to really run the ball because they were going a lot of DBs, but I really feel like that it's going to be like a 60-40 type thing, where it's going to be 60% pass, 40% run. So I really think they're going to try to incorporate the run game in there. Because both running backs had 14 carries last week, so I say that they probably get about 10, 12 carries a piece. But I also want to watch how they are incorporating the passing game. How well can they block? Are they going to be able to pick up blitzes when Josh Allen is checking out of things? So that's my target on offense. Defensively, it's a secondary. I know we got Trey Day back there. I'm very intrigued to watch this matchup between him and DK Metcalf. Should be very fun. There may be times where it's going to be him mano, but there also may be some times it's going to be help from back there from him and Poyer and Hyde. Same thing with Levi. So the secondary is going to be very noteworthy here, because they're going to be asked to do a lot on Sunday, especially with one against guys like DK and Tyler.
All right. So let's go through our over-unders. We'll do about 3 or 4 over-unders as usual. First one, the Buffalo Bills have 2 receivers over 100 yards receiving. Over or under?
Even.
Even?
I'm going to go even with that one. Shit. Look at Brandon Ayuk killed those guys last week. Actually, you know what? Last week's game, I don't think they had 100. I don't think San Francisco had a 100-yard receiver last week. They might not. I know Ayuk played very well, so but
Ayuk might have had 100, but I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go even with that one.
I'm gonna say under, but I'm gonna say it's gonna be like a few yards went under. So I think Diggs, he's like the obvious choice to get 100 yards. I say Beasley can get like 80. Brown could get like 50. I think Gabriel Davis gets like 85, 90. It's going to be a huge passing game for Josh Allen, but I don't think anyone besides Diggs gets over 100 yards. But there's going to be a few people close.
Everybody's going to get fed on Sunday. Everybody's going to get fed.
It's going to be a Thanksgiving feast. Everybody eating. Over or under, the Buffalo Bills defense gets 2 sacks on Russell Wilson.
Even. That's another even one right there. They will get to him if they use the right disguises. I think if they do, I expect him to do something like of what Arizona did to Russ, where they're going to bring about 6-7 to the line and drop back and drop 3 back and only send 3 or 4, or they could only send 3 and then they'll have somebody like Poyer who they use as their blitzer, Probably either him or Taron will come off and extra puts it. So yeah, I'm gonna go even right there.
All right. Over or under that there are 2 total turnovers in this game from both teams. So in essence, Bills have 1 turnover, Seahawks have 1 turnover. There will be 2 turnovers in this game.
That's combined, correct?
Combined, so both teams combined for 2 turnovers.
That's tricky. I'm gonna go even again.
Ooh.
But here's the catch. Both turnovers would be by Seattle. I don't think Buffalo. I think Josh plays a very smart Sunday. So and the turnovers that Russ will probably throw an interception because he has thrown a pick the last couple games. So I think he throws an interception, and I think a fumble gets forced. I don't know on who. I'm not gonna call out on who because I don't know off the top of my head. That's gonna be a tough one, but I think there will be a fumble and an interception.
All right.
Seattle.
I'm going to go under. I think there's 1 or 0 turnovers in this game. I think both teams are going to play very safe with the ball. I think, like, if any interceptions happen, I think, Tre'Davious White could get, like, a jump ball. Like, he jumps a route. Or, I hate to say, maybe Jamal Adams does pick off Josh Allen. Adams does not really get a lot of picks. But he could be, like, sitting in the box and, like, Allen not see him and throw it right to him by accident. I could see 1 turnover in this game. I don't see 2. So I'm going to go under. Alright. I think that's our bowl predictions of the week. I mean, those are over-unders. You want to do any other, like, bowl predictions? Or do you want to just get into the score predictions?
Man. Bold. What's something bold? I don't honestly miss with bowl predictions. So,
I mean, I can give one. Josh Allen has more passing yards and touchdowns than Russell Wilson at the end of the game.
Buffalo scores 40.
Buffalo scores 40.
That's my bold prediction. Buffalo scores 40.
All right. Now, let me ask you one question.
35 plus is going to be needed to win this game.
All right. So I'm going to ask you one question. As of right now of this recording, Stephon Diggs is only 9 yards behind DeAndre Hopkins for the league leader in receiving yards. Does Stephon Diggs take over the number 1 spot in the NFL for receiving yards after this week?
That's tricky. It's funny that you asked me that question, because I have both of them on my fantasy team. So. And Arizona plays Miami this week, so man, I say yes. I hate to say that, but I'm gonna say yes.
I think.
Because D Hop gonna have Xavier Howard on him. I mean, D Hop gonna get his targets.
Oh, he's absolutely gonna get his targets. Now, you just gotta realize, right? It's a first down, basically. All Stephon Diggs has to do is get 1 extra first down than DeAndre Hopkins. And let's be honest, this could happen either way, and knock on wood. But DeAndre Hopkins could, stub his toe, on a Lego, and not play, and then Stephon Diggs gets the first down, and then he leads the league.
Man, I got that man at fantasy. You can't just say that.
Hey, I knocked on wood. I think Stephon Diggs is going to lead the league in NFL receiving yards after Week 9, which would be an amazing stat for a Buffalo Bills wide receiver to have. I don't remember the last time a Bills receiver led the league in receiving yards at any point in the season. All right.
And I think that the main reason why that would actually fit is because of the fact that the game script for our game kind of calls for Diggs to get a lot of yards. So, yeah. Compared to Arizona, Miami, Arizona Miami's going to be a very good game.
It's going to be a very good game.
At the rate Miami's playing, sheesh. That should be a good one. But I think it just leans more toward Diggs' favor because of how the game script is going to go for that game for Seattle and Buffalo.
All right. So now time for our score predictions. You want to go first, Vince, or do you want me to go first?
Give me 40-37.
40-37. All right.
Even though that probably won't even happen, but hey, hopefully it's close enough.
I'm gonna go 33-31. Buffalo wins. I picked the Bills as my upset of the week this week. I think it was going to be a very close game.
Buffalo covering the spread?
Buffalo covering the spread. I mean,
you know, Buffalo's 3-5 against the spread this year, so just throwing it out there.
To be fair, that is very true. But you know, they do just beat the spread if they beat the Seahawks because the Bills are given 3 points. I think the Bills are going to win 33-31. I just have a feeling like, you know, Buffalo's gonna like go touchdown field goal, touchdown field goal, touchdown field goal, and then like an extra field goal. So they get 3 touchdowns, 4 field goals. Seattle gets 4 touchdowns and a field goal. But I think the Buffalo Bills do win this game. That's gonna be the end of this video, guys. I mean, hopefully the Bills can be 7-2 for the next week we do this. I'm probably going to actually do something this week coming up with playoff teams. So let me know if you guys want me to have like other people in on the call while we do like playoff predictions. We're also going to be doing a weekly Pick'em Bandit gamble where I'm going to be having 2 or 3 people in a call. We're going to be going through our weekly predictions, and whoever wins is going to get either like $250K month, or we'll figure something out. But I will be giving away something to somebody in the call if they beat me in the weekly predictions for next week. But that's going to be the end of this video, guys. I'm D-Man HD, here with my man Vince. Say goodbye, Vince.
Peace out, and all, man. Be back next week. Hopefully, this recording don't get lost. I pray it don't. But yeah, I'll see y'all next week.
And we're out. Peace.